Welcome to another session of Legal Talk with Mohit Suri. I'm here again with our off-counsel Amit. Today, it's going to be roles reversed because Amit's going to be questioning me. He's more of an IP guy. He's going to be questioning me about moving to the United States, more or less concentrating on the E-2 and EB-5 programs. And I'm going to be clearing all his doubts. Whatever comes to his mind, we're going to be answering all that. And let's hope that we are able to clarify all the doubts and all the queries which our guests have and our future clients have. And they're able to get a cleaner perspective and a clearer perspective about moving to the United States. Amit, welcome.
Thank you. Mohit, thank you again for having me. I guess we'll get started right away. I think most of us have obviously heard of the standard H-1B, H-4 dependent visa, but let's talk about some of the lesser known visa categories at which you are an expert. So what exactly is the EB-5 visa?
See, EB-5 is an investment-based visa which gives you a PR, a green card ultimately. Recently, the investment limits have been hiked. It's $900,000 for lower population areas and 1.8 million for the other areas. So things have become a bit tougher compared to earlier, because earlier the limits were 500,000 and 900,000. So it's gone up drastically. But yes, it's a good option. The only other drawback with this is the long waiting time. Though it gives you a green card, but if you were applying from, say, China, or if you were, say, applying from India, you would be waiting for 3+ years to get into the US, which is a long waiting period when compared with other investment-based visas. So basically what happens is that you can, just give me a moment, please. Yeah, so let me just tell you that, okay. So what happens is that waiting for that long becomes a very big issue, especially for investors, because you get your money in, and then some of the programs, they do create an escrow for the rejections, but if you get rejected 3 years hence, though the chances are very less, it becomes a very painful thing to get your money back. So that's what I would tell you about EB-5. Yeah.
So you mentioned, relatively speaking, these visas take a long time. How long or how short do the other categories typically take?
See, EB-5 takes 3 to 5 years. You can do an E-2 once you have the requisite conditions in 15 days if you file for an urgent processing. So that's like a huge difference. So there is no comparison. H-1B, as you all know, it's more of a lottery system. First you have to fit into the lottery, and then you get it. But like, again, that is like a processing of 8 to 12 weeks. Similarly, an L1 can be processed in 3 months. So relatively speaking, I think EB-5s, because of the because of the huge interest from the investors and the applicants, the line, especially in India, Vietnam, and China, has become very, very painful.
Right. Okay. Now, you also mentioned an interesting point. You mentioned 900,000 for the lesser developed areas and 1.8 million, I believe, for the other areas. Yes. How do they define that? Just out of curiosity, for people who want to move to Alabama versus New York City, for example.
They've actually classified them. The projects which get approved, they actually these are the areas where they want employment to be generated. So those projects in which you invest, these are not, you can't just go invest anywhere. You have to invest in projects. So those are projects in case of TEA areas, which are the lesser populated areas where they want to generate the employment. are the ones which are classified as that. So the projects,
Okay.
before you invest, we would tell you that these are the projects in the TEA areas and these are in other areas.
Just for people who are not aware of what DEA stands for.
Yeah, that's basically where the targeted employment generation areas are.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, in terms of the investment itself, what happens, say, after 5 years? What can you do with it?
See, technically, you're supposed to get back the money, and if that's made profits, you're supposed to get the profits out of it, and if it's made losses, you're supposed to lose that money.
Okay. No, but is there any, are there any requirements for you to hold on to the investment after a certain period of time, whatever that
After
period of
5
time may
years,
be?
there are no requirements. After 5 years, you're free to exit the project. But of course, most of the projects don't guarantee you the money back. So because as per the EB-5 program, your money has to be at risk. So it might so happen that when you exit, you might not get the entire amount back.
Right. Okay. Now, as compared to this, what is the E-2 visa?
E-2 visa is basically a visa for entrepreneurs. It's like it's anyone who wants to set up business in USA can do it as an E-2 visa holder. Basically, it's for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And there is no minimum investment criteria in that. But there's a very big catch. Only countries with which US has a treaty, only those countries are eligible, nationals of those countries are eligible for applying for an E-2 visa. If you're within the US, the processing can be as fast as 2 weeks. So that's like a really, really fast procedure for getting an unlimited entry into the United States.
Interesting. And now you mentioned countries, citizens of countries who already have a treaty. Is India included in that? India, say China, Vietnam? Are those
Unfortunately,
included?
all three of them are not included.
Okay. So
see, a whole lot of countries are there, but unfortunately, the countries which send the maximum number of immigrants to the United States are not treaty countries. So India, China, Vietnam are not treaty countries. So that's the catch. So here, if you need to get into the US on an E-2, you need to actually go to another country which is a treaty country, and then probably what you can do is you can get the passport from that country, probably take the citizenship from that country, and then move on and apply on an E-2 visa. It's still cheaper than the EB-5, even if you do both.
So you said it's cheaper. How? So what's the minimum investment needed for an E-2?
See, E-2, basically, there are a lot of opportunities for citizenship by investment today. The programs typically start at $125,000, and you lose that $125,000 getting the passport, and thereafter you can move to the US. You can set up your business there, and move on to an E-2 with an investment of as little as $60,000-70,000 US.
Okay, so you're
like $200,000.
Okay, yeah, and so this to me, instead of applying directly to the US, sounds you first go through a treaty country, get their citizenship, and then apply to the US. This sounds theoretically a long process. How long? What time frame are we talking about?
See, theoretically, it might sound like a long process, but this whole thing can be done in 3 months. That's
that it?
The catch. Yeah, that's the catch.
Okay.
And plus, a lot of people who are legitimately in the US, see, that's where the catch comes. A lot of people who are already in the US actually can apply while they're there. They don't need to go out. If you're legally, legitimately in the United States of America, you can apply for an E-2 or even the second citizenship while you are in the United States. So that's a big plus. So you will be delivered your passport at the embassy of the country from where you get the second citizenship, and then you can apply for an E-2 while you are there. And in 2 weeks, you can convert your visa into an E-2.
Interesting. And so would you require a physical presence in the treaty country to get the citizenship?
Not
Do you have to
really.
leave the US for people
Really,
who are
not
already
really,
in the
not
US?
really, not really. That's the best part. That most of these citizenships by investment don't require you to be there. They only need your money. And the best part comes when some of them actually are giving you a passport right away for investment in businesses or real estate. So that is again in your control. You can actually choose a viable investment, put your money in 2-3 years, you can sell it off, you can get the rental return from it, and still move to the US on the E-2. And you don't have to be there.
Okay. And this also applies for even the longer wait times, citizens like India, Vietnam, China that you mentioned, that even they can do it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But the thing is that
so
if they're in India, then or China or Vietnam, then once they get the second passport or the main passport, as it is in the case of India, because you can't hold two passports in India, so you have to go to that other country and then apply.
okay, but obviously, if you're already in the US, that
Then
doesn't
you don't have to do
necessarily.
anything. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
We give you a bespoke solution to help you become an E-2 visa holder while you're there, not get illegal at any point of time. Just
Right.
just do your due diligence. We'll tell you what all we have to offer you. Get your contract straight, get your business started, and we can get you an E-2.
So, given the short time frame, I would think that assuming people have that capital you mentioned on as an average figure of $200,000, right? Given that,
Yeah.
at least $200,000, I would think that people whose legitimate visa in the US is about to expire and all that, so they should be able to take advantage of this workaround, right?
See, this is the catch. What happens is if you're on an H1, you're so dependent on your employer that tomorrow his company goes down, your H1 goes down. Even if
Right.
you've already filed for your green card, that goes down with the employer, like you're so dependent on the other person. This is where this new program that we are offering comes in. You have, see, the mortgages in US are not that expensive. You can actually take a mortgage on the property investment, probably say in Turkey, and buy an apartment there for $250,000, get the citizenship. At the same time, you can put that apartment on rent to pay off the mortgage, and just open up a business with anything you have. They just say substantial investment. That amount is not specified. So that's the big catch about E-2.
Right. So since you mentioned Turkey, I'm assuming it's part of the treaty. So what are the requirements for investment in to get Turkish citizenship, and time frame and everything?
See, the cheapest and the fastest way to get is investment into real estate in Turkey. You invest 250,000 US in a Turkish real estate, which is very nominal. You can get whatever. You can take an independent house, you can take an apartment, you hold it for 3 years. That's the requirement. And you can sell it after 3 years. You're allowed to not live in Turkey. You're not required to live in Turkey. You can rent that apartment out, still get the passport and retain it. After 3 years, you can sell the apartment, but the citizenship remains with you. So you can be an E-2 holder with the Turkish passport even after you've sold off that investment. So that investment is just a 3-year investment. that you're holding on to.
Okay. And then, say hypothetically speaking, say if I were to take this route, I apply for the Turkish citizenship. Say I obtain real estate. Uh, is it up to me what I can do with that particular property?
Yes,
Can I
the
rent it
choice of
out,
the
for
property
example?
is yours. The choice
Okay.
of the property is yours. What you do with your property is yours. You can jolly well rent it, put it on Airbnb. You can do whatever you want. So there is no limitation on that. If you're not very comfortable with the real estate, then you have to deposit $500,000 in a Turkish bank. You still get the passport. You get decent return on that, maybe much higher than the United States if you put it even in dollar terms in the bank account. You can set up a company in Turkey employing 50 Turkish citizens, which is a difficult kind of a proposition. Employing 50 people is not that simple for everyone. Or you can actually invest into bonds for 500,000. But I think for as far as Turkey is concerned, the real estate is the catch. It's actually going up at this time, escalating despite a depreciating lira. It's outpacing the lira, and the rental returns are decent. You can expect 5 to 6% rental returns even on a residential property there. So it's a good route. It's in your control. That's the biggest part. What happens in an EB-5 is that I give it to somebody who's running a project. The project is not my project. It's somebody
Right.
else's project. And what he does with that project, how well he manages it, how well he runs it, is up to him. It's not up to me. So
Yeah.
that's the big catch. So if he's running a big project, or if he's running a project which is not going to really succeed in 5 years, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting my money at risk and end up losing the money. In
Right.
the E-2, the business is mine, the real estate investment is mine. It's up to me to choose what kind of real estate I want to get into. If you get into a good developer's project, the probability of you losing money is very, very bleak. Plus, the lock-in period is just 3 years. It's 5 years in EB-5. So this is a quicker and a more efficient and a cheaper route to get into the United States for individuals.
Yeah.
I actually basically just specialize in transactions, and we were doing business immigration only for businessmen and only for companies. Now we've expanded into individuals because the number of queries that are there is mind-boggling. The number of people who are still attracted to the United States and who want to move there, I can't even give you the figures on this program. So it's like that huge. Like especially in India, China, and Vietnam. See, the number of queries are huge. So I think it has a good future.
Okay. Now, a couple of things. You mentioned, again, assuming if somebody is not interested in real estate, you mentioned the $500,000 bank deposit. That's US dollars, just to clarify?
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously you will be earning whatever income on that, say interest or real estate, say, or rental property. So how does taxation work for those purposes?
Okay. If you're not a resident in Turkey, Turkey does not tax your global income. So that's the big.
Okay.
So if you're not residing there for 180 days plus, they're not going to be coming after you in the US and asking you for your money. But US taxes your global income. So if you're a resident in US, if you're a citizen of the United States, you have to pay your taxes on your global income. So for that, you'll have to contact your tax attorney and see how you're going to be paying taxes on that rent, or how you're going to be paying taxes on your interest. Technically, what Turkey does is it only expects you to pay taxes on what you earn in Turkey.
Okay. So and in terms of, so I would think that eventually, say 3 years down the line, once you sell off the property or do whatever with it, obviously there might be the equivalent of a capital gains tax in Turkey. So how does that work?
even that would be taxed only on the gains in Turkey. It's a nominal tax there of 15% plus. So you'll have to pay that tax and get your money out. So,
Okay.
and there's no cap on repatriation.
There's no cap on repat. Okay. Okay. So okay. Here's the cynical side of me. Obviously, there's this offers a lot of pros as compared to the EB-5. So what are the cons of as compared to the EB-5 Plus?
Cons are very few. One of them
Okay.
is that it doesn't take you to the citizenship of the United States.
Okay.
You have an unlimited visa, which is extended every 5 years. It's called E-2, and you remain with it. You can't become a US citizen with it. Not many people want to become citizens at this point of time because being a citizen of the United States is a costly and a dangerous affair nowadays. So this is a very, very secure route which we offer people, because you're getting the best of United States without taking the liability of a US passport at this time. Plus, the countries like Grenada or countries like Turkey or countries like even others like Vanuatu and others, they have excellent visa-free travel. So it's even better than the United States for your information.
So in terms of when you say excellent visa, as in the reciprocity with other countries, is what you're talking about.
Yes. So you don't need a visa to travel to a lot of places. So Turkey has that with over 100 countries. Grenada has it with around 95. You have a lot of other options where you have reciprocity with over 200 countries, like literally all of them.
Okay.
125 is very common.
Right. So now, obviously, because this is a significant investment, this is, and it sounds simple, but not as simple as you would think. So obviously, lawyers come in, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of, I mean, I guess my question is, can someone do this on their own without the help of a lawyer? A person who I'm assuming who has a $200,000 investment capability will be smart enough to figure it out, I would think, right?
See, a person who has 200,000 plus of investment would also be able to be smart enough to figure out that he needs a lawyer, because
good point.
because what happens is, see, you can do anything on your own. You can actually go to do a murder and defend yourself in a court of law on your own. So that's the beauty of law. It doesn't disallow you. But yes, there are a lot of nitty-gritties which come in with such investor-based movements. Like if you're moving from India to any country for that matter, or from China to any country, there are a lot of nitty-gritties that are involved when it comes to investment, when it comes to contracts for your real estate, when it comes to other things, when it comes to even transferring money. Laws are involved at every stage. It is very difficult for an individual to keep a track of all of them. And then when you enter United States, US has a very, very complicated system, as you're aware of. Like you have the state laws, you have these federal laws, the money laundering laws are very, very stiff. So you have to be very careful with what you do and how you get around them. So I would advise anybody who's wanting to do this to hire a lawyer. Yes, you don't typically, as per law, a lawyer is not needed. But I know that if you have $200,000 plus to invest in a third country, you would be smart enough and you would already have a team of lawyers working with you. But still, you will need specialists like us to do this for you, because it's not a simple job by any means.
Right. I see that we're about at the 25-minute mark. In an effort not to bore people with too many details with this, I think we'll keep it short. And and of course, people can reach out to us if they have any other questions. regarding this process. But any parting thoughts?
I think this is a great opportunity. COVID has actually opened up a lot of possibilities for people wanting to go international, wanting to move around, wanting to become global nomads in the term. Like, you don't have to be bound to a particular country anymore. With virus actually locking up a lot of countries, even I have done that when India was locked down, I went to the UAE. I was there, I was working there. And then similarly, if US was locked down, we weren't there. So it actually gives you a lot of flexibility. So this is the right time for people to plan how they'll go international and what is the best move for them. US, Canada, other places at this point are accepting immigrants, which might not always be the case. It might just happen that they say that, okay, we've had our full. There's an anti-immigrant lobby everywhere in every country. So as long as the opportunities are there, as long as the governments are immigrant friendly, it's best to plan your move and plan your investments accordingly, because it's not just a move. You're planning against depreciating currencies. You're planning against, say, unrests. You're planning against epidemics. You're planning against a lot of things. So it's best to actually shift your eggs in different baskets, not to place them all in one basket. This is what EB-5 and E-2 is for. And US, of course, being one of the biggest economies in the world, is the biggest economy in the world. I shouldn't say one of the biggest economy. It is the biggest economy in the world and one of the biggest powers in the world. I think gives the best opportunities for people to mitigate their risks and move in. So I would leave it to you to give your closing thoughts, and I would thank everybody who's joined us. And it's been a great exchange with you, Amit. And I think a lot of people who are stuck in the US with employers blackmailing them, or with employers who've gone bankrupt during the epidemic, or students who are there who are not finding their OJTs, or who've not been able to convert to a J visa or other categories. They would surely contact you and us to get a visa which would allow them to work legally and legitimately in the United States.
Right.
Thank you for such a kind questionnaire, and just kind to me when it came to questions. You could actually have grilled me much more.
And we can always do a follow-up on this where the
Yeah,
questions
sure.
get progressively complicated.
Yeah,
And
sure. Yeah, sure. What we'll do is when we put it on our socials on YouTube and other channels, we will request people to send us questions that they might have. And what we'll do is we'll try to answer these questions only on a one-to-one like this. So what I'll do is we'll have somebody in the office tabulate those questions and send them across to you, and then we'll answer it on the next program. So any last thoughts from you?
I'm sorry?
Any last thoughts from you about this?
I like I agree with you that with the pandemic and with overall the political climate that often swings back and forth in various countries, it is definitely beneficial to be a global citizen. And gone are the days when you were limited, to one country, and people just weren't aware. So I do think I completely agree with you that having multiple passports is, if possible, obviously legally, would be a great opportunity, and if possible, if not everybody, most people should take advantage of that. I guess that's my final point.
If they got the money,
All right,
they
Mohit.
surely should. If they have the money,
I'm sorry?
If they have the
Yeah,
money,
absolutely.
they surely should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
it was a pleasure talking to you again.
All
right. Thank you, everyone, for
a lot
attending.
of people inquiring about these programs. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah.